Now, warning, this is where people get stuck. If there was one area consistently that I've seen over the past few years of teaching literally thousands of people how to do this stuff, landing on the right product to go with is the point where they give up. And it's tragic. It doesn't have to be that complicated to find the right product. Right? I had one guy who said to me once, Ollie, I've been looking for the right product to sell on my Amazon account for 3 years. Can you imagine that? 3 years. Right? Within 3 years of my account, I've done hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of sales. Right? In fact, 3 years, I think I hit 7 figures. Think if he had just launched something and got started where he could be now. So I would give yourself a deadline with this. I would aim to have your first product selected in less than a month. It shouldn't take longer than that. And by the end of a month, you should just launch whatever you have. Whatever it is, just launch that. And the worst thing that will happen is that you might lose a bit of money and you might learn from the experience. Now, this might freak you out. You might be thinking, am I going to lose thousands? In a couple seconds, I'm going to tell you a way you can launch any product on Amazon without losing too much money, so you can see if it's a good idea or not and test out the marketplace. But for now, let's talk about how to find the perfect product. So I created something called the Smash Hit Product Radar. And this is a simple framework that I use to research products to sell on my Amazon account. This is what I teach my clients when they're launching products on their Amazon accounts. And this is how so many people have used my training to absolutely crush it and just launch product after product after product. It's all about understanding the potential in the marketplace. So the Smash Hit Product Radar has 4 elements. Element number 1 is high demand. Number 2 is low competition. Number 3 is low hassle. Number 4 is a gap in the marketplace. Okay, so let's go through each one of these elements and I'll explain to you exactly what we're looking for in a product on Amazon. So, start with high demand. So what is high demand? Well, high demand is evidence in the marketplace that your product will sell. Demand means loads of people want something, right? Loads of people want something. So you might have products that you're passionate about, that you're interested in, that you would personally buy. But sometimes it can be dangerous to try and launch a product that you like because you might not be sure if other people are buying it, right? So what we want to do is we want to look for a niche where loads of customers are already buying that product. Because if loads of people are buying it right now, then if we were to offer something similar to that niche, the chances are our product would sell as well. If we try and launch a product that nobody's buying, then it's uncharted territory. We just don't know if people are buying it or not, right? So we need to find a product that has some demand already. Easiest way to figure this out is to see what's selling. Now, I personally use an app called Jungle Scout to see the revenues in a marketplace at any time. So you can use Jungle Scout. It's like $20 a month for the Chrome extension, which is all you need to see the revenue. Alternatively, you can look at the best seller rank on any product. And to give you an idea, the lower the best seller rank is, the more sales a product is making. All right. So for example, the number 1 bestseller in any category is the product that's doing the most sales in that category. Okay, so bestseller number 1 in, say, home and kitchen is probably doing 300 or 400 sales per day. I know, crazy, right? It'd be awesome to have a product like that. But those products are usually really competitive. So, you know, if your product has a bestseller rank of maybe 1,000, right? Say it's the 1,000th best product within that category, it's probably still going to be selling quite well. Maybe it will do 50 sales a day, 100 sales a day. Product with a bestseller rank of 5,000 might do 20 sales a day. Okay, so we can look at these bestseller ranks and just get a rough idea of what kind of sales volume the product is going to be doing. Now, if you want to get a rough estimation of what a bestseller rank really means in terms of sales, you can go to fbatoolkit.com, and this website will actually tell you an estimation of the sales volume of a product based on its sales rank. So let's say we've got a product that has a bestseller rank of 5,000 in kitchen and dining. You can see on FBA Toolkit that on average it does about 30 sales per day. So we can use tools like this to see which products are already selling. And then if we find something that's selling quite well, it gives us a good idea that our product might sell quite well as well. Okay? Now, to give you an idea, I generally look for products where there's at least 3 sellers making at least £3,000 per month in revenue. Right? If I see more than 3 sellers making £3,000 a month in revenue, I know there's quite a good amount of demand in that particular niche. Okay? As I said, Jungle Scout is the easiest way to see this data at a glance. So if you find a niche that has decent demand, then you've got that part of the radar. Move on to element number 2, which is low competition. So why do we want low competition? Well, you might have a niche that has very, very high demand and loads of people are buying the product. However, if you want to sell something similar and have a chance of your product selling as well, you don't want it to be too cutthroat of a market, right? Because if there's too many sellers, then it's just going to be difficult to actually make your product stand out, to do something different, and to get the customers to click on your product rather than all the other products in the marketplace. So really, we want a niche where there's loads of demand, but not too much competition. What this looks like in practice is not too many established sellers. Now, an established seller is going to be someone who has tons of reviews on their listing, like over 500 reviews, or someone who has a brand that you recognize, right? So, for example, if you're going to sell a product alongside Nike, most customers are probably going to buy the Nike product over yours just because they trust Nike, they know they're a good brand, they've bought from them before, and it's just more likely they're going to get what they want. So we want to ideally not compete with brands and ideally not have too many sellers who have more than 500 reviews on their listing. Now, in 2020, my stats, I usually look for a niche where there's less than 5 sellers with 500 reviews on their listing. If you have, say, 4 sellers with more than 500 reviews, the competition in the niche is usually low enough. So the third element of the radar is low hassle. So what does low hassle mean? Well, you could sell 1,000 units of a product and it could make you a ton of money, but if it causes you so much stress that you want to jump off a building, then it's not really worth it, right? We want to sell products that don't cause us stress. We want to sell us products that aren't going to get us into legal problems. We want to sell products that aren't going to break in shipping or have any of the other issues you can have when you're importing and selling products to customers. So how do you identify a low hassle product? Well, we want it to be small and light, ideally, just for practical reasons, right? Easier to import, easier to ship. We want it to be durable, so it's not going to break in shipping. We want it to be quite simple in its nature. So for example, we don't want electronics because Chinese standard of electronics, when you just go to a manufacturer, is very low. The quality is going to be very bad and a lot of the stuff is going to break. Okay, so we want to avoid that niche altogether. There's many other niches we want to avoid too. We don't want to enter into beauty. Okay, it can be kind of complicated to sell beauty products. It's quite a competitive marketplace. And sometimes you could just have one ingredient wrong in whatever you're selling and Amazon could block the listing. And these ingredients that you're not allowed to sell change all the time. So you can make money selling beauty stuff, but it's not easy. And as a new seller, I'd say go for something more simple. Think about products that you could make yourself. That's a tip I always give to people. Right? If you could make the product yourself, then it's probably a good product, right? Think about it, right? So I probably couldn't make this camera that I'm talking to right now. I probably couldn't make it. There's so many parts in there. There's a lens, there's there's the body, there's circuitry inside there. It's very, very, very complicated. I wouldn't know where to start, even if I had all the parts laid out in front of me on a desk and a soldering iron and a screwdriver and whatever else I need. I wouldn't know how to make it. But a spatula, which is basically a bit of plastic that you melt and pour into a mold, I think, with the right tools, I could probably make that. So think of products that you could make, products that you understand how they're constructed. That will probably be the right type of product to import and sell on your account. So in fact, the best categories I like to sell within: home and kitchen, always good, right? Kitchen utensils, kitchen products, home products, okay? Baby, got a lot of good products within baby, lots of textiles, lots of simple plastic products. Sports and outdoors can be good as long as the product isn't too big, because we want it to be quite small and light. Office products can be pretty good. Arts and crafts can be pretty good. Pets can be good, right? Lots of toys, lots of simple plastic products again. And there are a few other categories like luggage and travel, which can be good, maybe it will be good in a year, right? And there's a few other categories that can work, but they're some of the most popular ones I use at the moment. How do you define a gap in the market? What does that really mean? Well, whenever you're selling a product alongside other people, what we're trying to do is offer something better than them. We're trying to offer something different to the competition. So it gives customers a reason to click on our product over all the other products in the marketplace, right? We want to do something different, something better. So if there's no gaps in the market to fill, it's very hard to offer something different or something better, right? So we want to find evidence that there's ways to improve on the products that are available. So the best place to find out if there's ways to improve is by looking at the reviews, right? If you look at any of the best selling products in a niche, usually the ones with tons of reviews or the ones who've got a very low bestseller rank or very high revenue levels in the niche, you can see in those reviews where customers think the product could be better, where it could be improved. If you do enough research on enough of the products inside your niche, you'll find all of the gaps in the marketplace that need filling. And then what you can do is come along with your product, fill those gaps in the marketplace by doing something the other products don't, and therefore customers will buy your products over the other products, even though you're a new seller. Right? This is how you get sales without having any reviews on Amazon before, without anyone knowing your brand or anything. You just do the thing that the product is meant to be doing better than all the competitors. So let's take an example, right? Let's say you want to sell a water bottle. Now on Amazon, there's going to be loads of people selling water bottles. And by the way, water bottles is probably a terrible niche. Competition's really, really fierce, especially with those metal ones that are for sale. But once upon a time, it was obviously a good niche. Otherwise, these sellers who are selling now wouldn't have entered into the market. So let's say you look at the water bottle niche and all the products, customers are saying that they are leaky and they're not watertight, right? So they've screwed the lid on the water bottle, filled it up with liquid, put it in their bag, and then they checked it an hour later and the water had gone everywhere, got all their stuff wet. And you keep seeing these reviews on loads of products inside a niche. Well, obviously, the way to stand out in this niche and get the sales, get the customers to choose your product, is to offer something that doesn't leak. And then your number one selling point, right? The one thing you can emphasize on your marketing, on your listings, is the fact that your water bottle is completely watertight and isn't going to leak. Right? You could even build this into your brand name. You could have it really clear on the listing, on the photo, that your product doesn't leak. You could call it the super leak-proof water bottle. Make it blindingly obvious that your product fills a gap in the marketplace. This will get people to look at your product. This will get people to click on your listing. This will get people to buy the product that will get people to leave positive reviews, and that's how you dominate a niche on Amazon. So you want to use these 4 elements and find a product that meets all of that criteria. Now at this point, this might sound like a lot. There's a lot you have to think about, and that's kind of true. But the best thing to do is just to keep adding products to a database and just looking at them and seeing if they meet all of this criteria. Now, if you want a handy manual with all the criteria laid out on it and a very simple way to actually search for these products, I'll put a link in the description, you can grab it. And it will walk you through how to find products using my technique, and it actually includes a video of how I find products consistently to sell on my Amazon account. So there's a link in the description if you want to check that out, but to be honest, you could just have a look by yourself first and give it a shot. Really, the key with looking for a product is to understand that there's no perfect niche. The product you find might be slightly too big. The product you find might have a little bit too much competition. Maybe the demand isn't quite as good as you think it will be. Maybe the price point isn't exactly right and there might not be quite enough profit in the niche. Whatever it is, here's the thing. Remember that when you're analyzing a niche, when you're doing product research, all of this stuff is speculative. We're making guesses. I mean, they're educated guesses, but they're still guesses. In fact, you can do all of this stuff perfectly well, and then something unexpected can happen. Maybe the marketplace gets flooded with competition. Maybe there's a complication at customs you didn't know was going to happen. Really, it's more important to just expect there to be some kind of hiccup and just be okay with that, rather than trying to get everything absolutely perfect before you launch. Because all that's going to do is lead to analysis paralysis, and you'll be in exactly the same place you are right now in 12 months' time. We want to get started by just launching something.